The world stood on the brink of chaos. On a sunny morning in Sarajevo, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and his wife Sophie began a fateful carriage ride. It was June 28, 1914, a date forever etched in history. As their car navigated the crowded streets, a young Serbian nationalist, Gavrilo Princip, saw his opportunity. Princip's motives were deeply rooted in the simmering tensions between Austria-Hungary and Serbia. Serbian nationalists yearned for a unified Slavic state, a goal that put them at odds with the sprawling Austro-Hungarian Empire. The assassination of the Archduke, intended to ignite a nationalist uprising, instead triggered a chain reaction that plunged Europe into the abyss of war. Austria-Hungary, enraged by the assassination, issued an ultimatum to Serbia. Its demands were deliberately humiliating, designed to provoke a military response. Serbia, backed by its powerful ally Russia, attempted to negotiate but ultimately refused to accept the ultimatum in its entirety. The die was cast. On July 28, 1914, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, setting in motion a series of alliances that swiftly engulfed the continent in the fires of war. The fragile peace that had held Europe together for decades lay shattered, replaced by a conflict of unprecedented scale and brutality. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand exposed the intricate web of alliances that had bound Europe together in an uneasy peace. These alliances, meant to deter aggression, instead acted as tripwires, dragging nation after nation into the conflict. On one side stood the Central Powers, led by Germany and Austria-Hungary. Germany, eager to assert its growing power, saw the assassination as an opportunity to expand its influence. Austria-Hungary, fueled by a desire for revenge, sought to crush Serbian nationalism once and for all. The Ottoman Empire, eager to reclaim its former glory, joined the Central Powers, as did Bulgaria, hoping to regain lost territories. Arrayed against them were the Allied powers, initially composed of France, Russia, and Great Britain. France, still smarting from its defeat in the Franco-Prussian War, was bound by treaty to defend Russia. Russia, feeling obligated to protect Serbia, mobilized its vast army. Great Britain, hesitant at first, joined the fray after Germany violated Belgian neutrality in its invasion of France. As the war clouds gathered, the intricate network of alliances transformed Europe into a powder keg. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand had lit the fuse, and the world watched in horror as the flames of war spread with terrifying speed. The early months of the war were marked by a series of swift and brutal offensives. Germany, following its Schlieffen Plan, aimed for a quick victory by knocking France out of the war before Russia could fully mobilize. However, the German advance was halted at the Battle of the Marne, and the war in the west settled into a deadly stalemate. The trenches, stretching for hundreds of miles across the battlefields of France and Belgium, became the defining feature of the Western Front. These elaborate systems of dugouts, trenches, and barbed wire entanglements offered soldiers some protection from enemy fire, but they also created a nightmarish landscape of mud, disease, and death. Life in the trenches was a horrific ordeal. Soldiers endured constant shelling, sniper fire, and the ever-present threat of enemy attack. The trenches themselves were often flooded with water and infested with rats and lice. Disease was rampant, and the stench of death hung heavy in the air. The stalemate on the Western Front would last for years, with neither side able to gain a decisive advantage. Millions of men would perish in futile attempts to break through the enemy lines, their sacrifices measured in yards of blood-soaked mud. Section 4. Muddy Hell, Life and Death in the Trenches. The daily routine of a soldier in the trenches was a grueling and terrifying experience. They lived in constant fear of enemy attack, their nerves frayed by the relentless shelling and sniper fire. Sleep was a luxury, often snatched in short bursts between patrols and guard duty. Food was scarce and often monotonous, consisting mainly of bully beef, hardtack biscuits and tea. Clean water was a precious commodity, and sanitation was poor, leading to the spread of diseases like dysentery and trench foot. The psychological toll of trench warfare was immense. Soldiers witnessed unimaginable horrors, their comrades blown to pieces before their eyes. The constant threat of death, coupled with the horrific living conditions, led to widespread cases of shell shock. a debilitating psychological condition that we now recognize as post-traumatic stress disorder. Despite the horrors they faced, soldiers on both sides displayed remarkable courage and resilience. They formed strong bonds of camaraderie with their comrades, finding solace in shared hardship and humor. Letters and poems sent home offered glimpses of hope and humanity amidst the barbarity of war. Section 5. Titans Clash. Key battles of the Great War. The Great War was marked by a series of colossal battles, each claiming hundreds of thousands of lives. These battles, often fought over a few hundred yards of ground, epitomized the futility and brutality of the conflict. The Battle of the Somme, launched by the British and French in July 1916, was intended to relieve pressure on the besieged French fortress of Verdun. However, the battle soon devolved into a bloody stalemate, with the British suffering over 57,000 casualties on the first day alone. By the time the battle ended in November, over 1 million men had become casualties, making it one of the deadliest battles in human history. The Battle of Verdun, fought between February and December 1916, was another example of the war's brutal attrition. German forces, hoping to bleed France white, launched a massive assault on the fortress city of Verdun. The French, determined to hold the city at all costs, poured men and resources into the defense. The battle raged for months, claiming over 700,000 casualties and leaving the landscape scarred beyond recognition. These battles, along with countless others fought on the Eastern Front, in the Middle East and at sea, exemplified the global scale and unprecedented brutality of World War I.